This program is made possible by Anthem Medicaid. Anthem Medicaid is with you every step of the way. And Kentucky Legend, your everyday tradition. Hello everybody, thanks so much for tuning in to VolunTour Kentucky. I'm your host, Randy Lanham. Today we're going to find out all about the American Red Cross and their volunteer opportunities.
Sometimes we move so fast, life passes by, we soon regret not giving up more time for those that need a helping hand, a friend to see. Come take a trip with me. VolunTour Kentucky. VolunTour Kentucky.
Evelyn, thank you for meeting me here today, and thank you for letting us come down here to Red Cross, invade your space for this Monday morning. But tell us about Red Cross. Give us a big picture about the Red Cross.
So, the Red Cross has been around for a long time. Clara Barton actually stayed in Owensboro in 1884, but we didn't become a part of Red Cross until 1917 during World War I.
She's who started Red Cross.
She did. She started the American Red Cross.
American Red Cross.
In 1881, and the state of Kentucky became a part of the Red Cross in 1917 from the pandemic flu outbreak and World War I efforts to help those efforts. And from that, we've grown into this wonderful organization that we are today to help folks get back on their feet that have had a fire. We've gone through storms, you know, the military, donating blood, saving lives that way, learning CPR and first aid, and all the great things that we do locally.
Oh, you do a lot of great things. You're such a blessing. Truly are. I mean, everybody has heard of the Red Cross, and I feel so blessed to be here today, learning what I'm learning, and also hopefully educating folks that's watching out there today about the volunteer opportunities, because you all need volunteers.
We always need volunteers. There's always something to do, but a lot of what we do is in the background, so you don't always hear about what we do. But there's some great things to do to help people that are at their lowest point in their life, whether they've lost a family member, they've lost their house. You don't think about house fires as being a large disaster, but if you've had one, hopefully it's the largest one you've ever been in. Hopefully it's not one that's, you know, you've had one or two before that. But we think of hurricanes and earthquakes as large disasters. But if you've lost your home, that's a big deal. That's a huge loss. And honestly, there's nothing like it except death. When it's the same mourning process, and we help walk them through the process to get back up on their feet, to get back into their regular, normal routine.
Thank you so much. From all the folks listening, they've learned so much today. They're going to learn all about the Red Cross, the volunteer opportunities. You are a blessing. I know the Red Cross is all over the world, but we're right here in Owensboro, Kentucky today, in which you get to lead this crazy crew here.
I know, it's awesome. Awesome.
It is awesome.
Yes.
You all have fun and laugh and cut up and carry on, but you are there when someone needs you.
Right.
And I appreciate you. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Randy. Thanks for being here.
Lisa, thank you so much for meeting me here today.
Thank you. You're welcome.
I understand you have been volunteering at Red Cross for quite a while now, right?
I've been here quite a while, yes.
How long?
My first volunteer job was with the tornado of 2000.
Wow, I remember that.
Yes, I did some things then, and then I was out for a few years, and since 2014, I've really got heavily involved again.
Well, I would like to know, just before we start our project today, I would like to know what motivated you to become a Red Cross volunteer?
Gosh, I don't know, just helping people and getting out into the community and doing what I can when I have spare time.
Yeah, I love volunteering personally myself.
It.
Ain't it so fulfilling?
It is.
You know, we're called to serve one another and love one another, and I know it's a great feeling when we're able to do that.
Yes,
so Lisa, you are going to train me today about the Pillowcase Project.
Yes.
Is that right? Tell me about the Pillowcase Project.
Okay, the Pillowcase Project is a program where we go into schools and talk to students grades 2nd through 6th grade. We go into after-school programs, Boys and Girls Club, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, summer school programs, and we teach kids about preparedness, disaster preparedness. And in Western Kentucky, that usually involves home fires and tornadoes. Different parts of the country do different disaster training, but we do usually tornadoes and home fires.
Okay.
And the pillowcase project got its name because the university students, after the Hurricane Katrina came through, they didn't have time to pack up their belongings when they needed to get out quickly, so they just grabbed up their pillowcases and shoved in what was important.
Yeah.
And they left with that. So the Disney Corporation has partnered with American Red Cross to give us these pre-printed pillowcases. And they have items written on the pillowcase of what things that you could put in your pillowcase and keep in your pillowcase on hand in case there's an emergency.
So you teach kids how to do this?
Yes,
right?
And we let kids color on them and decorate them. They have markers on them.
Well, that's neat. So we can just put all of this
we'll
in
pack ours and we'll be ready.
Order, but yeah, okay.
We give the students also a workbook. It has a plan in here for evacuation for your home fires. It has lists of things that you might need in disasters. It has lists of emergency phone numbers, people that you want to contact, all kinds of things. So the kids each get their own workbook.
That's a lot of value in that.
Volunteers get their own curriculum, so you can learn how to do this and how to train the kids. Yes, you can put that in.
Now, so do you train the kids to do this? Do you all ever assemble any of these to give to kids or give to folks?
No, we do not assemble them.
So you just train them to do it?
Yes.
Okay, I see.
Yes,
okay.
And we take ours, like this one, just as an example to show the kids.
Right. So pack it up. Very easy job. I guess the kids, all they have to do, with hopefully help from their parents, is find these different items and pack it up and have it ready to go. And looky there.
With the items already printed, that'll give you a start. You may think of other things that you want. Some kids want a photo of their family.
Yeah.
It takes with them. That's another thing we do is during the disaster, we teach calmness, how the kids can stay calm during the disaster to help them get through that. So.
Well, that was an easy project. What a great thing you all are doing for the community to teach the kids that. I mean, really, if you think about it, if a disaster happens and if you leave without anything at all, having one of these, I can see such a huge benefit teaching these kids how to get prepared and how to be able to bring those essential things with them, or like you said, a photograph or something like that with them.
Gives them a little comfort knowing that they are prepared.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely. So. I know I'm a Mr. Prepared. I'm always on my kids about being prepared for different things. So you have taught me something very valuable. So I will be trying to find me some of these pillowcases to take with me.
I know where you can get some.
Oh, you got a connection, huh?
Yes, I do.
All right. I might take a few with me when I go. Okay. Lisa, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much.
So Flowers, thank you so much for meeting me here today. So what is it that you're going to be teaching me?
Well, Mr. Lanham, today I'm going to be teaching you some home fire safety tips to keep your home safe.
Okay, great. How do we do that?
Well, we're going to get you some smoke alarms installed that are up to date.
Okay.
Now, the smoke alarms that we're installing today are 10-year smoke alarms, so you won't have to change the battery in them. We still recommend that you test them at least once a month. But as far as changing the battery, you won't even be able to get the battery out of these smoke alarms. And if it starts chirping for any reason before that, just give the American Red Cross a call. We'll come and change it out for you.
Wow, that's simple. That's simple. Well, you have volunteers that do these type of things too, right?
Oh,
You're going to come in and put in the smoke alarms for us?
Yes, I love our volunteers. They come in, they help us out when we need, because our chapter alone covers 17 counties.
Wow.
So I can't do that by myself.
Yeah, no
So
kidding.
we definitely need our volunteers to come in and help.
So we have a volunteer here today that's going to actually install one of the smoke alarms. So y'all are in my home right now. You're fixing to do me a training. He's fixing to install the smoke alarm. So we want to bring him in.
This is my volunteer, Stan. I just love him. He's so useful.
Stan, thank you.
All right, so while he is installing the smoke alarm here, I'm just going to go over some safety tips for you.
Okay.
So in terms of cooking, of course, when you're cooking, you want to always make sure you're supervising your food. A lot of people, they take an oven mitt with them if they have to leave the kitchen, just to remind them, why do I have this in my hand? Oh, yes, the bacon's cooking.
Yes.
So run back in there. With fireplaces, space heaters, things like that, you want to make sure they're at least 3 feet away from furniture, clothing, curtains, things like that.
Okay.
You have any smokers in your home?
No.
Okay. In case someone does come over, you want to make sure they're not falling asleep in the bed.
Right.
We get a lot of fires started with people smoking in the bed.
Oh, wow.
For your electrical appliances, especially your larger ones like the refrigerator and stove, just make sure they're plugged in directly to the wall and not any extension cords that could overheat and spark.
Okay.
For matches and lighters, maybe you have candles, things like that. Even if you don't smoke, just make sure they're out of the reach of children.
Right.
And then for the smoke alarms, again, make sure you're testing it at least once a month. Now these smoke alarms, they have a test button. They also have a hush button. So if you happen to burn the toast one day, you know why it's going off, you push that hush button, it'll be quiet for about 7 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And then if it's still smoky, it'll go off again.
Okay, got you.
Alrighty? All right, and then here at the bottom, it says that you should practice your home fire escape plan.
Okay.
Which is, hopefully you have one. Do you have a?
Not exactly.
Okay, we can go over that with you. We can help you get one started. So we want you to be testing that. You need to be out of your home in 2 minutes or less.
Wow, that's
So,
not much time.
Not a lot of time at all.
So that's so good that you all can train us to do that.
Oh yeah, so this is something you need to sit down with the kids and, you know, smoke alarm goes off, instead of panicking, they've been practicing this so they know that they need to get out of the home in 2 minutes or less.
Okay.
So that's something that we need to go over with you.
Okay, absolutely. So Flowers, thank you so much for coming into my home and installing the smoke alarm and teaching me all these. Can I keep this piece of paper?
Oh yes, I have some information that I can give you.
Absolutely, that's great. So all the things that you covered today, I just want to make sure that I go home with my family, talk about them, and make sure we have a safe home and are definitely ready to get out of the house in a safe place in case there's a fire. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you very much.
Not a problem, Mr. Lanham.
Michelle, thank you so much for meeting me here. So tell me about your work at the Red Cross. What do you do?
I have various jobs, which when you volunteer, that's kind of what happens. Recently, I went on a deployment, and I went as a caseworker, but I ended up doing some disaster assessment and some feeding, watching and helping with the shelter. It's a very rewarding situation to be a volunteer at the Red Cross.
I can only imagine. So what is part of your training? If someone out there wants to be in disaster relief, what is part of the training that you have to go through?
Most of our trainings can be done online through EDGE, which is a part of the Volunteer Connection. In your own time, you can get on them. The classes range anywhere from 45 minutes to a couple of hours.
Right.
And you can start in one area, but then it progresses into others.
You talked about it being rewarding. I can only imagine, you know, I feel like anytime that I get to volunteer, anytime that I get to serve others that are in need, it is such a blessing to me. So tell me about some of the folks that you've seen. You see their faces as you get to help them going through this terrible time of a disaster. Can you explain some of that?
Well, in doing the casework, in Iowa, what they had was a big situation where they brought in 20 vendors along with us, and so people would come in seeking relief. There was about 500 homes destroyed.
Wow.
And you know, they were in a lot of different needs. So what the Red Cross's role there was to bring everyone together that had an organization that would be of some help. And because, you know, when you're in the middle of a disaster, your mind isn't on what you need to do to recover. And that's the role of the Red Cross, is to primarily give them a temporary solution and to lead them on their way to recovery. So having these 22 other organizations there were really important to help lead these people through their recovery.
Yeah, that's so sad, and so what a blessing again to have organizations like yourself that are able to come in and bless these people and take care of them. If there's someone out there watching this show right now, they're thinking, you know what, I'm kind of hesitant about being a volunteer at Red Cross. What would you tell them to encourage them to become a volunteer?
Well, I would tell them the same thing that I just told my 89-year-old dad. He said, Michelle, I'm very proud of what you're doing. I wish that I had thought to do it when I was younger. And I told him that it takes every talent to make things work. They will find a place for him. He does well physically, as long as you have, even with physical limitations. We had one of the girls that did casework that was in a wheelchair. I found that to be extremely humbling to see someone that has a disability making the effort to be there to help other people. So it takes the whole thing where it takes a village. It really does. And there are various different things that people could do to make it all come together as a group. There's always something to be done, and we encourage everyone to volunteer. We'll find a place.
All right. Michelle, thank you so much for your time today and your service to Red Cross.
We'll get you
all
to volunteer.
You do. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Flowers, I understand you have a really cool experience from Puerto Rico. Can you share that experience with us?
Yes, actually going to Puerto Rico was my first deployment. So the first time I actually got to go out and do disaster relief. And it was just amazing to see the people down there that they had been through so much, but they were the ones, the foundation of the volunteers down there that came in to help. Everyone had a smile on their face. Everyone was welcoming. And it really makes you feel pride. I mean, for our fellow Americans down there, but it makes you feel pride, like no matter what I'm going through right now, they're going through so much more.
Yeah. Puts things into place a little bit, don't it?
Yeah.
I know we can tend to go through our lives griping and complaining about something, and then I can't even imagine. I'm trying to imagine you going down there and seeing this disaster and being able to actually put the hands and feet and help. That had to be amazing.
It was inspirational, because like I said, there was so many smiling faces and dancing in the headquarters. Like, it really felt like a vacation sometimes, like a vacation with a whole bunch of crazy friends. We're just there having a good time. But for some people to come in, I don't have electricity. I can't even get to my home. Maybe I slept in a shelter last night. But you can come in every day and still work hard to support your fellow people. And that means a lot to me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that story. You know, people like to hear stories, and they like to hear stories from people like yourself that have worked these situations, and such a heartfelt story. And I hope there's some folks out there watching that get to experience what you did.
I hope so. Like, I try to tell people, even if you can't donate money, we need your time.
Yeah. We
need those active hands. A lot of people don't realize that there's so many jobs that you can do within the Red Cross. It's a whole separate entity. Like, I thought Red Cross, you hear Red Cross, you automatically think blood. Yeah. There's a whole disaster side, service to the armed forces. There's so much. Just look. Yeah. Contact your local Red Cross. Educate yourself on what you can do, because there's all kinds of opportunities.
redcross.org, or reach out to one of your local organizations, get you connected. Yes. Thank you for your story and for your time, Flowers.
No problem.
I appreciate you very much. Lori, thank you so much for meeting me here today. And you're going to give us the big picture about volunteering. I love this sign you brought. We love volunteers, American Red Cross.
Well, we do love volunteers, and it really is the heart and soul of this organization. Volunteers are the ones that make the work happen. The stats show us that 95% of the work that's done by Red Cross is done by volunteers. Wow. We're led by volunteers. The boots on the ground are volunteers. And it's really just the organization is just a mechanism for people to help out when there's an emergency. And you know, the mission of the Red Cross is to help people during time of emergency, to alleviate human suffering. And when there is a tragedy, when somebody needs blood, when there's a disaster and a tornado comes through a community, when a serviceman needs to come home because there's been a death in the family, it's Red Cross that they turn to provide that help and that relief. And it's volunteers then that make that happen.
Right, 95%. That's incredible.
It is.
So you are always looking for volunteers.
We always are. There's never going to be enough. There's always need there.
Always training. So if
That's
somebody's
right.
listening thinking, man, you know, I really don't know if I can do all of that. You are there to support them, to train them, to help them,
That's right. From every step of the way. We have volunteers that might give us 3 hours a month, and we have volunteers that give us 40 hours a week or more, and everything in between. So we welcome anybody and everybody to come and be part of the Red Cross and bring to the table whatever talents and skills they have and whatever time commitment they have. That's what I think makes this organization so special.
Absolutely. So nobody has any excuse.
That's
if they
right.
want to volunteer, if they want to help the world be a better place, to help these folks in need, redcross.org, right?
Redcross.org. We make it so simple. They just click on redcross.org. They'll fill out a quick application, submit a background check, and then they're off and running, and we'll start the training process for them, and we'll get them tied into that job that best suits them, that they feel comfortable doing.
And the training probably depends on what they're going to be volunteering with,
That's
right?
correct. Absolutely. If somebody's going to help out at a blood drive, the training is really minimal. But if somebody wants to be deployed and go to an area where there's been a tornado that's come through, the training's more extensive.
Right. But man, what a blessing. I know that you get to see so many volunteers that get to help folks in really times of need. But what a blessing that is to be able to use the talents that God has given us to be able to help somebody else with that.
You know, it is a really, really wonderful organization, and it is because you're surrounded by the best of the best. You're surrounded by people who are wanting to help, who are wanting to make a difference, and they're there helping those who are in need, because we never, any of us ever know when we're going to need that help.
Right.
And it's just wonderful to know that Red Cross is there no matter what.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much, Lori, for
Yeah,
your time
thank you.
today and everything that you do
Well,
for
thank
the Red
you.
Cross.
We appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you. Ladies, thank you so much for meeting me here. Now, I had no idea that you all do service to the armed forces, but you are going to educate me as well as a lot of other people watching the show right now. I mean, how do I become a volunteer for this?
You can be a caseworker on the Hero Care Network virtually. We're doing the virtual casework now because a lot of times, you know, you can't come in. We have a lot of spouses that go, I have children, can I still volunteer? So what we do is we say, sure, we can train you virtually. So you would be having a headset, look really cute with a little headset.
Oh, cute.
And then, you
That's
know,
me.
be on the phone and basically taking the calls when an emergency call comes through, and you would create the case, you would verify it, you would also call the command. So it's kind of, it's
So I can
pretty,
do this from home?
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that great?
What an easy volunteer opportunity.
Yeah.
And very valuable.
Yes, or you could do follow-up depending on what you feel comfortable with. And the family follow-up is after the soldier comes home. We want to make sure that there was any issues with the call, that this wonderful, you know, mom or dad can tell us, you know, what happened. If they're happy, we ask them, is your son home or your daughter home? And they usually go, oh my God, thank you so much. But it really is not us. It's the command that provides the yes or no. We just verify and we just tell command, yes, there is a death, and yes, there may also be an illness that the soldier needs to come home.
Right.
And we try to start the education when they're going into the their training. We have briefings at the MEP station, which is Military Entrance Processing Station. So as they're shipped out that day to go to their boot camp, we actually have volunteers there that give overviews and briefing and tell the families what Red Cross does and how to contact them. We also do a follow-up. So we try to make sure that the families are very aware of the service as soon as their family member is headed off.
Absolutely.
Also, international services now comes under the Service Armed Forces umbrellas in our organizational chart. But one of the programs that we do that nobody knows about is called Restoring Family Links. This is a program where we work with refugees that have been displaced because of war or famine or political persecution. And as they scatter, a lot of times they lose contact with their family members. So we might get a request from our International Red Cross, you know, in another country. That request goes to our national headquarters. If they think the family's in our area, then we're asked to reach out to those families and make that contact and deliver those messages. We do a lot of the messages, but we also do a lot of certificate of detentions, I've noticed, for Bosnian cultures, but we work with a lot of different cultures. And we found out that there's probably 4 or 5 pockets in the state that have refugees: Louisville, Lexington, Owensboro, Bowling Green, and are some of the ones that have the high population. So we do a lot of casework there too. So and that's all volunteer driven. We have a volunteer lead that oversees that and makes sure that we have casework and those messages are delivered.
You are right. I had no
And
idea.
there's more.
And
more,
all
yeah.
of this takes
Yeah.
tons of volunteers.
Yeah, it's all
So
volunteer.
y'all are needing some volunteers.
Yes.
You're wanting some volunteers.
Right. And the International Humanitarian Law, Lynn can talk about that because she and I did it 2 years ago, but it's an interesting program for the youth. So
Yeah, International Humanitarian Law is a program to really kind of educate some of the younger population. I think it probably focuses on 16 and up. We did a project with our ROTC and the University of Louisville, and we focused on torture in war, what's torture, what's not torture, but it brings up a lot of the issues that are discussed a lot of times when you're in war. So again, that's all was volunteer driven, but they set up a debate on campus. So really discussing what's going on internationally.
So the folks out there watching, you all can make a difference. You all can help. Everybody can do something, right? So reach out to redcross.org.
Redcross.org.
Or a local chapter to find out more about the Red Cross. Thank you all both so much for your time and educating me and some of the folks watching out there. Thank you very much.
And you are going to be a volunteer, right?
Absolutely.
Hello.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and thank you so much for coming in and asking
Learning more
questions.
about it.
My pleasure.
All right, thank you so much.
Learned so much. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in to VolunTour Kentucky. I've had such a blast hanging out here today at the American Red Cross. To learn more about the Red Cross volunteer opportunities, go to redcross.org. I've enjoyed so much meeting and hanging out with my new family. Y'all ready?
We are family. I got all my volunteers and me.
We are family.
Don't sing, Randy. Don't sing. My volunteers and me.
I'll play.
This part's really dumb. Okay.
This program is made possible by Anthem Medicaid. Anthem Medicaid is with you every step of the way. And Kentucky Legend, your everyday tradition.